Hello students. Today, we will do analysis of the poem The Windhover by Gerard Manley Hopkins in great detail. This poem is about a bird, specifically a falcon, and how its flight in the sky is a beautiful and powerful sight. Hopkins uses this bird to show deeper meanings about struggle, beauty, and even spiritual ideas. We will go through the poem step by step, explaining all difficult words and phrases. By the end, you will have a complete understanding analysis of The Windhover by Gerard Manley Hopkins. Hopkins wrote this poem about a bird called a windhover, which is another name for a kestrel. A kestrel is a type of falcon, a bird of prey that hunts for food while flying high in the sky. The poet describes how the bird moves through the air and compares it to other things, such as a night or fire. Hopkins also connects this bird's flight to ideas of strength, effort, and beauty. The poem is written in a special style called sprung rhythm, and Hopkins uses words in a way that makes them sound musical. The title The Windhover refers to the kestrel, which is a small falcon. The word windhover comes from the way the bird hovers, or stays in one place, while facing the wind. This means the bird uses the wind to balance itself in the air. The poet is amazed by how the bird does this, and the entire poem is about his admiration for its flight. Explanation of the Windhover by Gerard Manley Hopkins. I caught this morning's minion, King Dom of Daylight's dauphin, dapple dawn drawn falcon, in his riding of the rolling level underneath him steady air, and striding high there, how he rung upon the rein of a wimpling wing in his ecstasy. Then off forth on swing, as a skate's heel sweeps smooth on a bow bend, the hurl and gliding rebuff the big wind. My heart in hiding stirred for a bird, the achieve of, the mastery of the thing. Hopkins begins by saying that he saw a kestrel early in the morning. The phrase, I caught this morning's minion, means that he saw the bird at dawn. The word minion means servant, so he is calling the bird a servant of the morning. This suggests that the kestrel belongs to the morning, as if it is part of the natural world's beauty at that time of day. He also calls the bird, Kingdom of Daylight's dauphin. The word dauphin means a prince. In history, the dauphin was the title for the prince who would become the next king of France. By calling the kestrel the Kingdom of Daylight's dauphin, Hopkins means that the bird is like a royal figure in the morning sky. This gives the bird a sense of power and grace. The phrase, dapple dawn drawn falcon, describes the bird's appearance. The word dapple means spotted or marked with different colors. The dawn has soft light and colors, and the bird seems to be moving through it. Hopkins is painting a picture of the bird flying beautifully in the morning sky. The next lines describe how the kestrel flies. The phrase, in his riding of the rolling level underneath him steady air, means that the bird is soaring through the air. The air beneath him is steady, and he moves smoothly across it. The poet admires the kestrel's skill in controlling its flight. Hopkins then describes how the bird moves its wings. He says, hi there, how he rung upon the rein of a wimpling wing. The phrase rung upon the rein means that the bird is moving in circles, almost like a horse controlled by reins. The word wimpling means rippling or fluttering, so he is describing how the kestrel's wings move in the wind. The poet then exclaims, in his ecstasy. The word ecstasy means extreme happiness or excitement. This suggests that the bird enjoys flying and is full of energy. Hopkins is not only describing what he sees, but also expressing his joy in watching the kestrel. The next part of the stanza describes how the bird suddenly changes direction. The phrase, then off forth on swing, it means that the bird suddenly swoops down and moves forward quickly. Hopkins compares this movement to how a skate's heel sweeps smoothly on ice. This simile helps the reader imagine how effortlessly and gracefully the bird moves. The line, the hurl and gliding rebuff the big wind, means that the kestrel pushes back against the strong wind and still glides smoothly. Hopkins is amazed by how the bird moves with strength and control, even against the wind. At the end of this stanza, Hopkins says, my heart in hiding stirred for a bird. This means that he felt strong emotions when watching the kestrel. His heart in hiding suggests that he usually keeps his emotions hidden, but seeing the bird fly made him feel deeply. The phrase, the achieve of, the mastery of the thing, means that he is impressed by the bird's skill and ability to fly so perfectly. Brute beauty and valor and act, air, pride, plume, here buckle. And the fire that breaks from thee then, 1,000,000,000 times told lovelier, more dangerous, O my chevalier. Hopkins continues to admire the kestrel. He describes it as having brute beauty, which means strong and natural beauty. The word valor means courage, and act refers to the bird's movement. The poet sees power and bravery in how the bird flies. The words air, pride, plume describe different qualities of the bird. Plume means feathers, so he is talking about the kestrel's proud appearance. He then says buckle, which means to bend or collapse. This could suggest that all these powerful qualities combine and create something even greater. The next lines describe the fire that comes from the kestrel's movement. Hopkins says this fire is 1,000,000,000 times told lovelier, more dangerous. This means that the bird's flight is both beautiful and full of power. He calls the kestrel, O my chevalier. The word chevalier means knight. Hopkins is comparing the bird to a noble warrior. No wonder of it. Plod makes plow down Silion shine, and blue bleak embers. My dear, fall, gall themselves, and gash gold vermilion. In this final stanza, Hopkins explains why the kestrel's flight is so special. He says, no wonder of it, meaning that this beauty and power should not be surprising. He gives examples from daily life to show how effort leads to beauty. He compares the bird's flight to a plow cutting through soil. The phrase, sheer plod makes plow down Silion shine, means that hard work, like plowing a field, can create something beautiful. Silion refers to the furrows made in the earth by a plow. The last lines compare the kestrel's movement to burning embers. He says that embers, which are pieces of burning wood, fall, gall themselves, and gash gold vermilion. This means that as embers break, they reveal bright red and gold flames. This is a final image of struggle and beauty. Analysis of the Windhover by Gerard Manley Hopkins. Gerard Manley Hopkins' poem, The Windhover, is a sonnet that describes the poet's admiration for a bird, a kestrel, that he sees in flight. This poem is rich in imagery, literary devices, and deep meanings. Hopkins uses the kestrel's flight to express his admiration for beauty, strength, and divine power. The poem is also a reflection on spiritual struggle and religious devotion. The title, The Windhover, refers to a type of falcon, specifically the kestrel, which is known for its ability to hover in the wind while searching for prey. Hopkins uses this bird to symbolize many things, including Christ, human effort, and the power of nature. The poet finds great beauty in the bird's controlled yet energetic flight. He expresses how this sight moves him deeply. Hopkins wrote this poem using a style called sprung rhythm. This is a type of poetic rhythm that does not follow traditional patterns of stressed and unstressed syllables. Instead, it follows natural speech patterns and makes the poem more dynamic. This unique rhythm enhances the energy of the poem and mimics the movement of the bird. The first 8 lines of the poem describe the kestrel's movement in the sky. Hopkins tells us that he saw this bird early in the morning. He calls it the morning's minion. The word minion means a servant or follower. This suggests that the bird is serving something greater, possibly nature or the duty granted by God. He also calls it the kingdom of daylight's dauphin. The word dauphin means the heir to a throne. This means that the bird is like a prince of the sky, ruling over the morning light. Hopkins then describes how the bird moves. The kestrel is dappled-dawn-drawn, which means that it is covered in speckled colors like the light of dawn. The poet says the kestrel is riding the air, suggesting that it moves smoothly and with great control. The bird does not struggle against the wind. Instead, it moves in harmony with it. Hopkins expresses awe at the bird's ability to control its flight. The poet describes how the kestrel moves higher and then turns in a controlled motion. The phrase, how he rung upon the rein of a wimpling wing, is a complex image. The word rung refers to the circular motion of the bird as it turns. The word rein suggests control, as if the bird is a horse being guided by reins. Wimpling means rippling or fluttering. This description shows how the bird moves skillfully through the sky, turning and gliding with ease. Hopkins describes the kestrel's joy in flying as ecstasy. The word ecstasy means a state of great happiness or excitement. The poet believes the bird is not just flying to hunt, but is also enjoying the act of flying itself. This idea connects to the theme of beauty in motion. The kestrel is not just functional, its movement is graceful and full of energy. Hopkins is deeply moved by this sight. He says, "My heart in hiding stirred for a bird." This means that his own heart, which was quiet and hidden, suddenly feels strong emotion because of the bird's mastery of flight. In the next part of the poem, Hopkins talks about the deeper meaning of what he sees. He describes the bird's brute beauty and valor and act. The phrase brute beauty means a raw, natural beauty. Valor means courage, and act refers to the bird's skill in flight. Hopkins sees all these qualities in the kestrel. However, he also suggests that these qualities come from something even greater. He exclaims, "Oh my chevalier!" The word chevalier means knight. Hopkins is comparing the kestrel to a noble warrior. This connects to the idea that the bird represents Christ, who is also often compared to a knight or warrior in Christian tradition. Hopkins then describes how power and beauty come together. He says, "And the fire that breaks from thee then, 1,000,000,000 times told lovelier, more dangerous." The word fire suggests energy and passion. Hopkins sees the bird's movement as something powerful and even dangerous in its beauty. This connects to religious themes in the poem. Hopkins was a deeply religious man, and he often wrote about finding God in nature. Here, he seems to suggest that the kestrel's beauty and power reflect divine energy. In the final lines, Hopkins makes a surprising shift in imagery. He compares the bird's movement to two unexpected things like a plow and embers. He says, "No wonder of it, sheer plod makes plow down silion shine." The word plod means slow and steady work. Silion refers to the ridges left in the soil by a plow. This means that hard work can create beauty, just as the plow makes the soil shine in the sunlight. This suggests that struggle and effort lead to something valuable. Hopkins also describes embers, which are the small glowing pieces of a dying fire. He says, "Blue bleak embers, my dear, fall, gall themselves, and gash gold vermilion." The words of blue bleak describe the cold appearance of the embers before they break apart. Gall means to hurt or wound. Gash means to cut deeply. Gold vermilion refers to bright golden red colors. This image suggests that something must break or suffer before it reveals its true beauty. This can be connected to the Christian idea of sacrifice. Just as embers break apart to show their inner fire, spiritual struggle can lead to deeper faith. Overall, an analysis of The Windhover by Gerard Manley Hopkins reflects that the poem is filled with admiration for nature, movement of the bird, and divine power. Hopkins uses the kestrel as a symbol of grace, effort, and religious devotion. He describes its flight in great detail, using powerful imagery and unique rhythms to capture the bird's motion. He also connects this to deeper ideas about struggle, beauty, and faith. Through this poem, Hopkins expresses his belief that both nature and human effort reflect the presence of something greater, something divine. The poem remains one of his most celebrated works, admired for its rich language, complex ideas, and deep emotion. Thank you for watching this video on analysis of The Windhover by Gerard Manley Hopkins.